SEC with Kyler Kerbyson of the Believe in Tennessee Football Network. Kyler, tell me about Tennessee. I mean, other than everybody transferring away in the offseason.
Yeah, that seems to be the entire story surrounding us. But we do have some transfers coming in to take over those spots that we missed. The Jawan Mitchell transfer, he's a linebacker coming from Texas, is huge for us because we're really thin on defense. I've told a few people now, I feel like we're going to be Ole Miss from last year, where it's offense, offense, offense. We're going to score a ton of points, but that defense might struggle a little bit. So I see our game being pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. The Ole Miss defense from last year and the Ole Miss offense from last year. And Harrison Bailey looks like a pretty much a prototypical Josh Heupel type quarterback. How's he developing through spring?
He's looking great, honestly. I got to go to a practice early in the spring, and in my opinion, I thought it was Maurer's job. I thought he carried himself like a leader. He was the one, putting himself forward, just doing all the intangibles that you really want. And I didn't really see that confidence out of Bailey. But you get to the spring game, and Bailey can sling that ball around, man. His arm ability is what sets him above the other guys. So I feel like between those two and also Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton come from Michigan, whoever wins the job had to go through a gauntlet to get there. And that makes me feel good about whoever actually is the number one quarterback starting the season.
All right, let's go with an Ole Miss legacy son, Jabari Small in the backfield. How's he looking so far? He was the guy, right?
Yeah, I love him. And one thing about our backfield, you're probably not going to see a single back. It's not going to be the Derrick Henry kind of offense where you see one guy, maybe a guy comes on third down. It's going to be a rotating door. We have a few backs that I feel like we could have three or four get 500 yards this year. And everyone get some playing time. Everyone keep rotating, especially with this high up-tempo offense that's going to be going so fast. Conditioning is going to be a huge factor, which I'm sure you guys are used to watching the offense that Lane had last year. Can you keep up in the fourth quarter? So if we got guys who can rotate in at running back, it's going to be very helpful for us.
Yeah, and just for you guys to know, the way that the substitution works, since they move so fast, it's generally by series. There's no substitution play to play unless something went wrong, just because they want to go as fast as possible. It's actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen some up-tempo offenses that have really taken advantage of a tired defense where they'll have a receiver run a go on their sideline, and then as soon as he gets 40 yards downfield, just run to the sideline, and they bring out another guy where the ball was before if it's an incomplete pass. So it's just stuff like that. One-word plays that can go out there, which I saw when I went to practice, are huge in an up-tempo offense because I got an up-tempo offense my last 2 years at Tennessee under Butch Jones, and it made a big difference going against those defenses, especially those big hulking guys in, the Alabama defensive front that you're going to go against.
All right, now we talk about all that, but it doesn't make much difference if there's no talent on the outside. What does the wide receiver position look like for Tennessee?
Well, we have guys from last year that did perform. Jalen Hyatt, who was a freshman last year, he's coming in his second year. He was able to get a lot of playing time, even though being a freshman. We got Jones Jr., who transferred from USC last year, and we brought in another one in Javonte Payton from Mississippi State, who is a very good athlete, a very good playmaker. He had a breakout game versus LSU last year, the first game of the year, and kind of fell off, which had to do with injuries and, Mike Leach not really playing him as much. But I feel confident about the wide receiver room. And with Heupel's offense and how it works, I feel like you could really place a lot of guys there, and he's going to get them in the right scenario. He's going to get them open. I mean, Elijah Moore is an incredible athlete, and watching him and what he did last year was amazing. But there were also plays where no one was around him. I mean, he was wide open, and that is Lane Kiffin right there, just drawing up the plays versus the defense, making it confusing, making it to where his guys, his playmakers can get, that far open. And I feel like Heupel can do those same things.
Yeah, Heupel is wanting to run a system similar to mine. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of. But what I refer to it as the offensive system is designed to torture linebackers. They can't be right.
Yes.
They drop back and take away the tight end and the slot over the middle. The running game is wide open. If they come up, you have those guys wide open. It's terrible. They can't be right. It's the closest thing to basically mental torture that a college football player can have.
Oh, I would agree, and that is it is fun to see as an offensive lineman, especially when those linebackers have no idea if you're coming up to block them, no idea if you're doing a double team, and no idea if it's a pass or not, and it makes your job a lot easier. And that is something that scares me this year because our linebacker room is so depleted with the guys transferring. It is small, literally and figuratively. Not a lot of guys, and the guys that are in there are not very big. So it does worry me a lot. I like I said earlier, I could honestly see, our game being a 50 points by both teams kind of game, like one of the most exciting of the year.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and actually the story that's going to come up during our game before it happens. I want to see fall camp, but the back part of the defense, the back five, that group has been completely remade. We got Jacob Springer, former American All Conference player with Navy. We got Otis Reese, who transferred from Georgia, and we got a bunch of talented freshmen. And what you don't know this guy, but you will after the game. His name is Tysheem Johnson. He has a little bit of honey badger in him. It's amazing.
Ooh, okay. Hey, that's a special guy to have. If you can compare him to Honey Badger, that's a special guy to have.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, how are you feeling about you guys' recent linebacker going into the portal?
Well, I don't really know too much about that. I know we have Chance Campbell coming in from Maryland. And it could have something to do with that. You never can tell. Whenever you're dealing with the mind of 18 to 22-year-olds, as you are well aware, you really can't predict what is going on. It's going to be a loss for Ole Miss, but at the end of the day, I don't expect it to be necessarily horrible. I'm not a doom and gloom guy. If a person goes into the portal, I'll just move on to the next one in the group that we already have.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Sometimes I feel like, the fan base might want me to be a little more pessimistic and not be so positive. But a lot of the times I am. I always believe that we can win a game. And maybe that's the player in me. Maybe that's because I played, I always believed I could win a game even if we were playing number one Alabama. It's just something that you want to do when you're going into the games. But yeah, I think our loss of To'o was a little bit bigger than some of the losses that you guys have had, and it definitely hurt a little bit in the heart to see him go to Bama, especially.
The biggest transfer that you guys had that just really messed with me. I'm a huge Eric Gray fan. I've been for 2 years, ever since he was in high school. Ole Miss coming in second in that recruitment, and him going to Oklahoma. A, I'm not going to get to see him every week. But B, he's going to hurt you your offense considerably because he would perform quite well in this UCF Josh Heupel system.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Him and Chandler both. I think they're very mixed running backs. They're not just a runner. They're not just a pass catcher. They can do both, and so valuable. Having that two-headed monster in the backfield last year. And it does. It does suck. Well, I think we're up near to 30 plus guys who are transferring this year, and this is a whole new world in NCAA football. It's just crazy how easily guys can change their minds and be able to just play in a school in the same conference. Right away that's going to be kind of insane, especially with name, image, and likeness coming out and just the opportunity to go to a different city if you really want to. I could see guys going to bigger cities, even though they're smaller schools like a New York or a Boston or a Chicago, if it's a smaller school in that realm. But if they're able to be a big part of that city, who knows?
That is a good point that you bring up. Rutgers could be a surprise winner of this name, image, and likeness situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, would you rather, get your name out in a big city? Would you rather be, who knows, an LA team? Or would you rather be down in the South and be in a Knoxville, be in a Athens? It's just, you kind of got to make those decisions when you're picking a school.
All right. What are you looking forward to with this football season? It looks like we're going to get back to normal. What are you looking to see for the first time in 18 months?
I am looking to see a live game. That's all I want, man. I just want to be able to go and sit in the stands and enjoy a live game and see all of the things that go with it. Be a part of the vol walk, see the tee, running through the tee. Those kind of stuff you really miss once it's taken away from you. And I don't expect us to win a buttload of games this year. I don't think we're gonna be fighting for maybe an opportunity to go to a bowl game, and I am realistic in that way. So I just want to see good football. I love the fact that we're going to be an offense-based team because I'm an offensive guy. So it makes me feel a little bit better, going into the season.
Well, let's do this. Who are your non-cons this year?
So we've got Tennessee Tech. We start with Bowling Green. We got Tennessee Tech. We have Pitt, and then trying to remember the last one, South Alabama.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that sounds like just off the hands 3-1. So you have to do 3-5 in the SEC. And
yes,
you have Alabama permanently on the schedule. That doesn't look good. Georgia doesn't look good. Florida, I don't know about Florida. That's a game that, in my opinion, you guys are going to be fit to surprise, because I'm not 100% sure they're not going to put a square peg in a round hole with Emory Jones down there.
Yeah, I honestly felt great when seeing Trask leave and those wide receivers leave, and I was, felt that Emory Jones is no way a QB1 in the SEC. He just doesn't seem like he's quite there. I have no idea how he's done over the spring or, progression that he's made, but I definitely see that as a weak point. But they are still Florida. They, it's always going to be a tough game. And honestly, over the past few years, Georgia has been a closer game than Florida for us. But yeah, that Alabama game is never fun on the schedule.
Yeah, the Georgia game being closer is just because Kirby will not take his thumb off the offense and let them go. He wants every game to be 17-14 when 28-21 would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he just let it go a little bit, it might make a difference. Might not have to those nail biters, those Hail Mary games that we've had a few times with them. But yeah, I think 3-1 is definitely possible. Those non-conference games, obviously Pitt, being a higher opponent for us, a better opponent for us, but it's also scary just not knowing exactly what this team is going to look like with all the transfers. That first game of the season, there's always times where you're going to have penalties, you're going to have mistakes that you didn't expect because it is the first game, and just hope that we can get over that hump. And then, a transfer from South Carolina and quarterback Bentley went to South Alabama, and he's undefeated versus Tennessee. So it's always worrisome when you see a quarterback who just has our number, even if he is at a different school and not an SEC team.
Yeah, if you look at the SEC, you got Vanderbilt and you got South Carolina. That you have a chance to win both of those. So that's 5. So you have to get one more.
Yeah. We have to get one more. I agree with you that South Carolina new coach, same as us, Vandy, just being Vandy. And hopefully we can squeeze one out. Hopefully, maybe a Missouri. I don't know about Kentucky. I feel like we usually have the advantage versus them, even when they do have good seasons. But I feel that as if they are on the rise. I feel as if they're really fighting for that, number 3 spot in the SEC East behind Florida and Georgia. And it's going to be a big test for us moving forward. So hopefully the Missouri game is the one that we can take advantage of and, get those 6 wins and possibly get to a bowl. Now, can we even go to a bowl? I don't know. The sanctions haven't come out yet from the NCAA, so that might not even be a possibility, even if we win 6 games.
Yeah, we played that game, so I do not envy you on that one. I do have a question for you. The Kentucky-Tennessee game, when did that game quit being the whiskey barrel bourbon barrel game?
Yeah, so probably around early 2000s, because I still remember, those Philip Fulmer teams hoisting that trophy. And honestly, I'm pretty upset that I didn't get a chance to be a part of that. I didn't get a chance to, have a rivalry as a trophy and everything like that. I think they wanted to force a rivalry into us and Vandy, even though that has never been one, in-state rivals, but it's always a bloodbath. And I think they're trying to push it too much because, like the Arkansas LSU rivalry that went on for so long, obviously Auburn, Alabama, you guys got Mississippi State, but a lot of these games have a trophy with them, and that was ours. That was our big rivalry in the East, and it kind of sucks they took it away, but, we got a rivalry with Vandy that's very much in our favor, so that's nice.
I understand. Like, do not is promoting drinking and all that. They may have viewed it like the cocktail party for the Georgia-Florida game, but that's not it. Kentucky's known for calls it bourbon. Tennessee calls it whiskey. It makes sense.
It's perfect. I have no idea if it's, technically Tennessee is a dry campus, but they get around the rules a little bit by putting an entire Broadway down the middle of it that can sell alcohol. So it's not quite dry in the definitional,
All right. Who are you looking for in the SEC other than Tennessee? What team piques your interest?
Well, honestly, I would say Texas A&M. I thought, after last year just getting bumped out of the college football playoffs, not quite making it, I think Jimbo is an amazing coach, and they're the team that feels the most dangerous over in the West, that feels, no shot at you guys, but just feels the most dangerous to knock off the Bamas, to really give them a run for their money. And, they're a good team. They're returning their Niedermeyer, who's just an absolute beast at tight end. And, they just got to find that good quarterback for him. And I think Jimbo can do that. He's had so much experience with great quarterbacks, and they're definitely a team to watch in my eyes.
All right. There we go. Thank you very much. Kyler Kerbyson, Believe in Tennessee Football, part of the Believe Network, I believe. We have Corey Burton from Believe in Georgia Football coming up this week as well. So thank you very much for stopping by, and we will have to reconnect once the season gets closer.
Oh, yeah. We can talk some X's and O's and go over those offensive strategies our coaches have. So
it'll be fun. It's going to be great. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.